Donald, why won't they help you? No one is coming. They're leaving you out in the cold. You have no one. Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis say they're out of the race. They dragged you publicly. But they keep winning votes in the primaries. Without even trying. Votes you wanted. Votes you deserve. You built this movement. Their voters just don't like you. Are they embarrassed by you? More than 20% say anybody but Donald. Sounds like your dad. Does it hurt your feelings? Of course it does.
But tick, tick, tick.
Shouldn't you stop them?
Is the disgrace, twice impeached, 4 times indicted ex-president.
Of course you should. They're counting on you being too weak. You are. Too tired. You are. Too old. The sun is setting. The old Trump would have punished them. Where is Teflon Don? But that's not you anymore, is it? It's all coming to an end.
Well, that was a video from the Lincoln Project. If I'm going to be really honest with you, it's not super related, except for that it is talking about Trump, to what we're about to dive into. But stick around for this breaking news that I have for you. I'll bring in our legal expert, Aaron Parnas. As context, y'all have just been eating up these Lincoln Project videos, so that's why I wanted to start the segment with that just for fun. But now we have breaking news. And it's legal related, so that's why Aaron joins me. Aaron, what is the news that we just got as we were sitting down preparing to record a different segment? I'm going to really quickly pause your viewing of this video to ask you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button, plus the like button as well, and the alert bell so you get notifications. Back to it.
Yeah, we got some big breaking news tonight. Judge Merchan, the judge who is overseeing Trump's criminal trial in New York, this is the hush money Stormy Daniels trial that's scheduled to go on April 15th, just modified his gag order after a request from the district attorney, from Alvin Bragg, to include the families of court staff, the families of the district attorney, and the families of Judge Merchan himself. Now, this is big because it comes after about a week of Donald Trump specifically attacking Judge Merchan's daughter and her connections to Democratic candidates and organizations. And Alvin Bragg specifically asked Judge Merchan to expand the gag order to protect these family members, because Donald Trump, as a criminal defendant, does not have the right to merely attack anyone and everyone using social media or other public statements. So this expansion of the gag order comes late tonight, and it's pretty big news. Now, I want to pull up a specific quote from the gag order because it's just breaking. I'm going to read it from my phone. Judge Merchan says, quote, "Trump's pattern of attacking family members of presiding jurists and attorneys assigned to his cases serve no legitimate purpose." And he made an even bigger statement that, and putting Trump on notice, that Trump will forfeit any and all rights to access juror names and information, prospective jurors, if, quote, he engages in any conduct that threatens the safety and integrity of the jury or the jury selection process. So Judge Merchan is not messing around tonight, and this is very bad for Donald Trump, given he can't control himself, Luke.
He can't, or he chooses not to, because he doesn't care about the ramifications of his dangerous words. As an example of the type of stuff Trump has been writing on Truth Social, you have this: Judge Juan Merchan is totally compromised and should be removed from this Trump non-case immediately. His daughter, so he makes that claim that the judge is compromised, and then his supporting evidence is his daughter, and then says the name, is a rabid Trump hater. So Trump has stooped as low as going after and targeting the daughter of a judge to try to smear the judge as impartial, or as partial and not able to oversee this case properly. Pretty disgusting stuff there. And so, Aaron, what happens if Trump continues forward with the pattern of behavior we've seen from him after this new updated gag order has been implemented?
Yeah, simply put, 3 words: contempt of court. If Donald Trump violates this gag order and continues attacking Judge Merchan's daughter, the district attorney's family, or anyone else covered by this gag order, Judge Merchan will then have the power to hold Trump in contempt of court. And that could be anything from a fine of several $1,000s to potentially having adverse inferences brought in his criminal case, like him being no longer able to have access to juror information, for example, all the way up to potentially jail time for Trump. It's not uncommon for criminal defendants or witnesses who violate court orders and are held in contempt to spend a night or two in jail. Now, I don't know if that'll happen with Trump, given his status as a former president and all the security concerns. Once again, Luke, the two-tiered justice system you often talk about. But we saw this happen kind of with Judge Engoron in the civil fraud trial, where Judge Engoron issued a gag order, and Trump violated the gag order multiple times when he attacked Judge Engoron's court clerk instead of the judge himself. And Judge Engoron issued a civil penalty, a fine. I believe it was about $10,000 the first offense, and then maybe greater the second offense. So expect that to occur similarly here. But Judge Merchant, unlike Judge Engoron, I really don't think is messing around, given the fact that this is a criminal proceeding, not a civil proceeding. So the stakes are arguably much greater. And preserving the right to a free and fair trial with an impartial jury of Trump's peers is of the utmost importance here. So if Trump violates this gag order, you could totally see Judge Merchant potentially throwing the book at him and maybe forcing him to spend a night in jail somehow. So we'll see what happens, but that's what'll happen.
Gotcha. And yeah, you touched on this a little bit. People try to, in defense of Trump, accuse the judges of acting unconstitutionally and violating Trump's freedom of speech with these sorts of gag orders. Of course, we understand, though, gag orders like this are constitutional because just like how your freedom of speech is protected by the Constitution, your right to a legitimate trial, this sort of process has to be protected as well under the Constitution. And that's what these serve to do. And I'll read an excerpt from the Alvin Bragg filing that then Judge Merchant was responding to and decided to go along with. Defendants' dangerous, violent, and reprehensible rhetoric fundamentally threatens the integrity of these proceedings and is intended to intimidate witnesses and trial participants alike, including this court. And you referenced the two-tier justice system phrase, Aaron. Obviously, that's what we hear a lot when MAGA individuals are saying that everything that's happening to Trump is so wrong and he's being subjected to the two-tier justice system, meaning he's being treated worse than someone who doesn't have his name. But actually it's flipped around, and lots of legal experts have weighed in and said it's the opposite. He's being treated softer than you would expect by the court, given the actions and the rhetoric that he's been engaging in. Do you agree with that, Aaron?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think Donald Trump, if he wasn't a former president and he didn't have all these security concerns around him, he would have spent at least a night in jail by now, based on the amount of violations he's done of court orders, him being held in contempt in the civil fraud trial, etc. Not just that, I think that being that he is a former president, for better or for worse, he gets special treatments like him not having a super tight bond, right? Like he didn't really have to put up any money in any of the criminal cases. He isn't on an ankle monitor. He didn't have to do any, he didn't have to submit to any restrictions as part of a bond, which almost every criminal defendant does, especially in the federal system. So you see the two-tier justice system kind of playing out in Trump's case, and it's going to continue happening because your average everyday American who violates a contempt of court order is thrown in jail. I mean, that's what happens. Trump,
which is, just wild. It's completely the opposite of the very allegation made by MAGA. And I do want to, while we still have some time left, get to the Hope Hicks news as well that we're planning on discussing. Aaron, fill in the audience on that.
Yeah, so just quickly, Hope Hicks, who is Donald Trump's former communications director, but also one of his top personal aides. I mean, this was someone who was in the Trump inner sanctum and knows where all the bodies are buried, will be testifying voluntarily during Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York for the prosecution. They didn't have to subpoena her. They didn't have to force her to testify. She's going to be coming to the courtroom voluntarily and testifying against her former boss and in a lot of ways her former family member because they were that close. Hope Hicks was an extended part of Donald Trump's family, not just a Trump employee. So this one is certainly going to hit Trump where it hurts. And I'd be curious to see whether or not Trump attacks her publicly, given his propensity to do so with former disgruntled or just former employees generally. So we'll see.
Aaron, where can people find you?
On all my social platforms, just add Aaron Parnas.